Ladies and gents,
Bombshell episode for a different reason.
Bombshell episode 42. Welcome to the Glory Days podcast. I'm James. We've got Josh, and then we've got a special guest. We've got Tom joining us.
Yes, hello. Happy to be here.
Marquee signing, not too bad. A wow signing, and why not have a wow signing? You know, when you've won a game of football in the way that we've done. Perth Glory have beaten Newcastle Jets 2-1 away from home. Was it a convincing performance? No. Was it a win and 3 points? Yes. Are we getting out of Newcastle? Absolutely. It's a smash and grab. But we take that. So we're literally recording straight after the game. So if things are a bit frazzled, viewers, then now you know why. It's a little bit all over the place. We've got Alex and Will that are in Newcastle as we speak. They might call in, they might not. I'm not sure.
I think we saw them a few times on the telly.
We saw them on the broadcast, and I'm surprised that the Seccos weren't called over to
score them out.
Go and deal with them. Hopefully the visuals are okay and the audio works. If not, make sure to let us know how shit we are in the comments or in the live chat, whatever's easy. So we may as well start with some initial thoughts before we delve into some of the fan comments. But Tom, since you're new, what do you think of the game? There's some brief thoughts.
I think we're going to great efforts to not be reactionary, but on the other hand, there's a bit of that quote of get the contract, put it on the table, let him write whatever he wants on it. We're back. The league's on watch. We're going finals. Anything is possible.
Yeah.
But on a real, I think the win was important because of the way they won it, where they weren't great, but I like to see a lot of the kind of mental side of what they were doing, particularly late in that game and particularly after going a goal down. This is a team that likes to kind of lay down and die a lot of the time when things go wrong, and their heads kind of went after the goal. But to get anything out of a game where that's happened, where I think that team's mentality has been recently, I think is really important. As much as I have a lot of problems with some of the weird tactical stuff we were doing, I think just winning that game does a lot, as kind of buzzwordy and vague as that sounds.
That's fair. Josh?
Look, the first 20 minutes I did shit myself, and I was like, here we go again. We're in for a long journey. But honestly, how the things have been going, I think it's the perfect scenario. I think the boys really, really needed it, and I'm really happy for the boys. I'm happy right now in the moment, but the deeper I dive into the stats, the more I sort of doubt. But look, I want to stay positive. I think it's especially to get an away win, which we haven't in so long, let alone a win, is just fantastic. And I'm happy for, obviously, the players and all the fans that travelled, being Will and Alex. Yeah,
well, that was our first win against Newcastle. I don't think we've beat them. Well, we might have been.
It was December 2018.
Yeah, December. Yeah, I'm thinking of when the last time we beat them at all. But
away. Sorry.
At least away. The last time we beat them was Popper, December 2018. So that was Jason Davidson and Neil Kilkenny. I think it might have also been 2-1 as well, where we hung on. So, look, I think
it's a crazy stat.
Yeah, it just shows like sort of how far we've fallen off since Popper. But in terms of the result itself, I'm very happy with it. Am I still a bit of a cynical bastard that's looking at everything else beyond the result? Yes, absolutely. But fair play to the players. We've mentioned this quite a few times on the pod, but we've had Scott Wootton, and we've spoken to him quite a number of times, but he was very consistent. He was saying, keep the faith. Once we get that first goal, things are just going to start rolling forward from there. And to their credit, while it wasn't sexy football or it wasn't really a fantastic game from our perspective, I think you'd take it. So I'm intrigued to see what the fans have said. So Muller, he said, can we vote for the travelling fans? I think yes would be the answer. Nick, as inept as some people at this club may be, they clearly do care. Continue making small improvements game by game, and maybe we do end up winning the fucker with Griffiths at the wheel. Jordan, huge shout out to the Bay members at the game. I wish I was there with you. A huge win for this club, even though it wasn't pretty. The defence was very solid, especially Kaltak and Shamoon. We looked good on the counter once we got our best attack starting. We will dominate the opposition. Ethan, he said, a shout out to the fans, especially the Bay. Mark, our passing is awful. Kaczarski worked hard. Pennington was good when he came on. It was not a pen. James Merrin wasn't pretty, but a win's a win at this stage. Hopefully the boys can build on this. Tom, it definitely wasn't pretty, but there's definitely been improvement and a bit of luck goes our way. Hopefully that boosts the confidence and we can get a string of results going. A draw or next week. A draw or win next week would be massive. So, yeah, I think that's probably where fans are at this point in time. The lineup itself, I think maybe we would have looked at it and gone, okay, there's parts of it that we like, and then there's maybe some questions. And I think
I messaged you when it was put out, and I was like, I'm a little bit confused by this lineup because we've had, I think it was Labib's first even appearance, and he was starting.
Yep.
And then obviously Taggart on the bench was the big one, which, I mean, I thought it was maybe precautionary, but it didn't look that way on the bench when they did the clips of him.
Yeah. What did you think of the lineup otherwise? Were you happy with it?
I thought, I mean, that Lawrence-Kaczarski link up, like up top together, I was interested to see how that would pan out, but it looked like it, did all right. I was pretty happy with it,
Very cool. Tom?
Well, when I first saw it, I kind of when I saw we were playing Kaltak-Woot and Labib, 3 centre-backs, I did momentarily have PTSD flashbacks
MacArthur?
before I realised he's gone. We're not playing the 5-back anymore. I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there was some weird stuff in terms of Taggart not playing, but he's hurt obviously, so he wasn't fit. Labib on there. But I think I didn't hate it, but I kind of saw him as oh, this is interesting. I wonder what's happening here. Because most of the other guys on that 11, you're based on last week.
Yeah.
And based on their previous work for the guys that were coming back in, you go, yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, and I think I was intrigued to see how it was all going to work because I think Labib was probably the surprise one because I was like, well, you've got Osler, who we were at the Members Lounge a couple of weeks ago. He was saying that he'd be back around about then. But then you also have Teddy Kazamba, who can also play at right back as well. And I'm like, well, perhaps it could have been a good opportunity for him to get his debut. But did they say what the situation was with Risdon?
No. Same as O'Neill wasn't on the bench either, but I'm surprised.
I think his missus was expecting
during
the weekend, so that was why.
I mean, Kaczarski starting as well. That was unexpected.
Yeah, because we did talk to JK, or Alex did, and I think was he wanting to, or he felt that he could play in the Mariners game, but they said no, and they wanted to give him a bit more time. Is that right?
Yeah, I think he said after the international break, he might come off the bench, but to start.
Well, he started and he looked fairly okay. What else? Midfield 2, he went with the same midfield 2. He had Despotovsky on the right and Wales on the left. I'm not too sure I was a fan of that combination. I think Wales would have been a bit more effective and more dynamic on the right, and same with Despo if he's sort of coming inside and drifting in with maybe the likes of Tom Lawrence and JK next to him. Maybe that could have been a bit more productive. What did I write down? I had a lot of notes that I wrote during the game because I think the first part of the game was, look, it wasn't great, as we
really
said.
Wasn't.
It wasn't great. Look, I think it was clear that unlike the last few games under Griffo, where there was that intent to try and keep the ball and try and look to break down a low block, I think obviously the conditions of the game were different, and we had Newcastle, I think, first half they were having, was it 60% of the ball? Yeah, they had 60% of the ball. We had 38. So what do we make of the first half in particular? Because, we were, I think, playing a lot of catch-up football. I think we were trying to rush things a little bit too much, trying to find Tom Lawrence and JK in those transition moments, but I just don't think we had any sort of fluency. Tom, what do you think in the first half?
I think we started pretty bright, which we've done a few times. It wasn't necessarily the greatest stuff, but I think we did start fairly front foot until their goal. That's where we sort of started to shake a bit. I think coming to that goal, what I found to be kind of frustrating was, I think it's a problem we've had all season in both of the shapes, is we're quite poor when we're trying to sit and kind of sit in a block and hold.
Yep.
We're not bad when we're a bit more front foot defending, but when we're really trying to sit, teams tend to pick us apart. And to be fair, Newcastle are quite good at that, and they were actually doing some really nice movement, really nice passing around that central area.
Yeah.
I think the problem that we had in that 4-4-2 is I think that double pivot is quite good. I actually like Timmins and Bozanovsky, but they do need a bit of help. And I think against the Mariners, you had a bit more of Franey helping them.
Yeah.
And then at other points in this game, maybe, I don't know if it's adjustment or what they're meant to be doing, but there was times where they kind of almost sat a bit more 4-3-3 where Wales would kind of tuck in a bit as well. But I think the problem is when those players don't help that midfield pivot out of possession where we're sitting in a block, you can really, really pick them off. And if it's asking a lot of those players to do that because most players can't play those roles as a duo.
That is true. Josh, what do you think of it?
I just thought, like, we were fluent in moments, and then, like, when we were under pressure, we weren't. So, like, we kept trying to, especially going forward, like, we just kept, I think I saw maybe an exaggeration, but like 100 times we're just lobbing balls, going for the long ball, and we keep doing it and it just doesn't work, and we kept losing possession easily. There'd be times where we do some nice things, but as soon as it came to trying to create some nice chances, especially through the middle, we just couldn't do it.
Yeah, and I think, you know...
And our set pieces.
Set pieces were a bit of a problem, but I think,
to have.
You know, when you contrast the way Newcastle play on the ball and then you contrast the way that we play on the ball, writing it down profusely, but just getting so frustrated because it's like Newcastle, they have a bit more method to how they want to play, and yes, obviously we wanted to attack as quickly as possible. And you know, we've over the past we've had our viewers say, oh, there's that lingering presence of driller ball that's kind of still hovering over the players, where Greffo's perhaps wanting the players to be a bit more composed on the ball and try and pass through. But even still, I don't think we've developed our passing game that well, because I think there were lots of times in build-up where you're moving the ball and let's say it gets to the fullback, and then it's like, then what? What happens when Labib gets on the ball? What happens when Shamoon gets on the ball? Where are our midfielders? And I felt that our front four was a little bit too high, and we weren't really at least trying to drop in and try and combine, because I think we had like the initial scaffold of what we wanted to do, but then beyond that, I think, you know, you could see the difference. And then once they got their goal, look, it was sloppy from us, because I think it was a free kick. Timmins, I don't think this was one of Timmins' best games, to be honest. But he gave the ball away. It was, I forgot who intercepted it, but it was it Bertoncello, whatever his name is. He got on the end of it after a quick passing exchange from the Jets players. But it's one of those sloppy, soft shit goals that we always concede, irrespective of the manager, irrespective of the shape. But Tom, what did you think of the goal itself that Newcastle scored?
It was kind of typical of a lot of the stuff that we concede and a lot of the stuff we do, just because we kind of look okay for about a minute, and then just someone does something really poor, gives the ball away, and then I think conceding in that way adds to the fact of how this team gets shaken so much, because I think it just goes in their head, and it's similar to when, like, God bless him, Ollie Say was throwing the goal in his net every week, where it would happen and you can see their heads go like, oh, fuck, it's happened again. It's the same thing every time. Doesn't matter what we do. So I think it's a really tough way to concede, and we do it a lot. And it often, I can't remember the turnover for that one, but in this game, a lot of the turnovers were passes and then like poor attempts at long balls. And I think the problem is at the moment we have a lot of guys who are actually pretty good ball carriers, but not a lot of actual passes. And when you're transitioning from being, as you're saying, that Zrilic ball team into this newer thing, you often end up, the players want to pump it long, and I like that we can go long. I like that we can go vertical in transition, but they don't know when to do it. So they're doing it way too much when it should be a tool, but not the whole
method. And I think it's like, again, you look at the Jets players in the final third, and Josh will get your thoughts, but it's like the way they were able to just ping it about, one or two touch, and their interplay has been fantastic. And it's not like they've got fantastic players on paper.
No. So I think with their goal, I said it to you. Well, thanks Paramount, by the way. We're having troubles with the live stream, typical. I think I said to you, like, it looked like I was watching a replay. I could see before the goal even happened that it was going to happen. Just they made it look so easy. It was like in slow motion. It just was a typical Glory goal, like you said. I feel like I've seen it a million times. But for me, what I do respect is how we came back from it, because we could have easily conceded another 3 and put our heads down, but we kept going. So
Yeah, and it's just, you know, once we eradicate that crap from our game, then I think we won't have to be almost playing on firefight mode every time we lose the ball, because I think our midfielders at times, they did well to hustle, like Timmins and Bozanovsky, and I think you're going to get that from those workhorse kind of players. But I think part of the trade-off of that is when they're that focused on wanting to go and get the ball, they don't have that discipline in terms of, well, if someone's going, then I've got to stay in my position. Because I think there was a Jets player, it might have been Badalado, who was kind of just hanging back a little bit because both Timmins and Bozanovsky were trying to get the ball after we lost it. Stayed back, one pass, boom, and then it was just a simple finish from there. A good finish, a really clever finish, but it's like, I still don't think our cohesion just yet.
It's like we're training cones, we weren't.
Yeah, and that was kind of what I wrote next in the sense of like our ball security. I think the amount of times we were just under-hit passes or miss-hit passes or just like be a bit sloppy in possession, you know. And if I'm someone like Adam Griffiths, who, you know, the players have said he values keeping the ball, he values possession, I think that's something that, you know, we've really got to tidy up. I felt the Jets did a very good job when it came to their pressing. I think they did a great job of making things predictable. It's like, as I was sort of saying before, where it's like, Glory going to pass here, they're going to pass there, and then once it gets to their fullback or once it gets to their centre back, because our passing range as a team is kind of limited, and there's still that focus on, do we want to go long or do we want to try and play short? It's almost like, well, what actually do we do? There's not that clarity. So I think the Jets defended for the most part fairly well. Yeah, I think the first half in itself, there were too many danger signs in the sense of also how the Jets were able to progress the ball and how they were able to move it out wide, particularly on that left-hand side to Daniel Wilmering. There were so many...
They were taking advantage of that left side.
They were. And I felt that there were so many times where Labib would then come out, and because he'd have to close down a huge amount of space, that then would have that gap in between he and Kaltak. All it needed was a runner from one of the Jets players. So would you think it's just how the way the Jets were kind of deconstructing our shape a little too easily at times?
With Labib, I was really wondering, it's hard to know when this is like the first time he's played this season, the first time he's played right back, whether a lot of the stuff he was doing was him or the instructions. Yeah. Because when we were building up from the back a lot of the time, he was super, super high, whereas like Shamoon would come back nearly in line with the centre backs a lot of the time. Yeah. And I wonder if that's what he's meant to be doing or that's what he's been told. And I kind of get it, because he is really, really dangerous when he gets ahead of steam. I remember there's like a point in the first half where he just gets the ball and looks at Wilmering and goes, I'm faster, stronger than you. I'm just going to kick it and I can run past you. And I wonder if they were trying to create that space on that side and build up by pushing him a bit high, which kind of works sometimes. Then out of possession, he was very aggressive. Yeah. And it's hard to know. I saw enough from Labib there to be like, I think there's something there that could be good. Yeah. But since it's his first game, I think in that spot out of the season, I kind of give him enough break to say it didn't quite work. And Kaltak's really good defending that channel space, which makes maybe he'd be good in a back three. I don't know. But,
back three.
Considering it was, like he said, it was his first game back, and he was playing out of position. I thought he actually was decent in the role, but he was just playing too high.
Yeah, he was having a good time. So I want to see more of that. I want to see more of him. Just like
I want to see more of him on the in the starting 11, or at least on the bench.
Yeah, well, that or just playing at in his natural position as centre back. I think Kaltak. We'll probably discuss this a little bit later, but he's copped a fair bit of shit.
But he's come back from it well.
Well, that's the thing though. He's copped a lot of shit, and some people would say, well, rightly so. We expect from one of our quote unquote big signings that we've brought over to turn us into winners. We need to be seeing a high level of performance, and I think he's had some shaky games to start this season, but this season I think he's been phenomenal, and I can't remember Lockie Rose getting into many good areas of the pitch without Brian Kaltak literally following him around,
And he just especially in pressured areas, Kaltak would just he just run into him, and we haven't had that in a while, you know.
We haven't had that. We haven't had that balance, and I just think, you know, look, the Jets, they were clearly the better side in the first half, and I think they were trying to target. For me, I felt our left side a little bit too much, and I think maybe with someone like Sebastian Despotovsky, who has his qualities as a more attacking midfielder, I feel he's wasted as a winger. I think it's asking him to do too much grunt work and too much in the sense of having to track back and come up and down and do his defensive roles within the shape. We may as well discuss something positive so that I'm not just bashing the players the whole time after a win. Tom Lawrence.
Oh, what a finish.
Yeah.
Good finish. Good finish. I had so it was Jets were building out. And it was Reece Bozanowski, so I'm thankful to fuck that you're here and Alex is not here. Otherwise, I would not be hearing the end of this about how good Reece Bozanowski is on the ball. I did get a message from someone about, I told you Bozanowski would be a good player. And I'm like, I wasn't saying he wouldn't be, but you know,
I mean, he has been consistently.
I think he's been consistently one of our highest performers.
Yeah.
It was him. So yeah, great positioning. That's what we expect.
Sorry, but that Lawrence goal, that pass was about an inch from
Newcastle. Almost fucked up. But the positioning was great. The pass worked out. And then Tom Lawrence, you know, what a way to introduce yourself to the Glory fans. Because I think this is probably, when he played against the Victory, I think he was okay. I don't think it was, but obviously it was his first game in a fair bit.
Don't think he was probably about 50%.
Yeah, and he was still, you know, he hadn't played a lot of football, so he's still trying to find his feet, even within this team. But that finish, mate, it was like fuck off, and just the quality that he has. You know, he's someone that I think the fans can get excited by. What do you think?
Well, because because it's actually ironically a bit of a soft giveaway from the Jets that gives us that chance. But when they do that counter attack or that kind of fast break, really, really good. I love the way that they all knew where to be. Because I have this memory in my head of one time where Castro has a fast break, and I think Chianese runs into his channel, and it breaks down, and then the ball goes out, and he screams at him. Yeah. But these guys, the way they spread, these got 3 passes, nothing the defenders can do.
Yeah. 4v2.
Passes it through to Tom Lawrence. I'm like, I don't know, maybe Despotovsky was slightly.
Yeah, I thought that as well.
But as soon as he finishes it, I'm like, you know what, that's like the finish of a guy that the second he got the ball, he's like, there's no chance I'm missing this. Yeah. That was just absolutely perfect, really confident. Even in his first game where he didn't really do a lot, but he's one of those players sometimes in this league where they touch the ball and just like the way their technique is, you kind of go, yeah, he's good. Or something.
Or it's like you'd feel confident that something's going to happen. Yeah.
I don't know, he just has like... One thing I like to see from a Visa player, though, is, and especially because I consider him a big name, right? Like, semi-big name for the league.
Yeah, relevant compared to the players that we have. Yeah, definitely.
Especially with just his enthusiasm on the pitch. Like, I know he was, like, having a dig. You can see at Shushnia. Yeah. And even in his first game against, what was it, Victory?
Yes.
Yeah, Victory. You could see on the pitch I thought he was giving it 100%.
Yeah, and that's what we need, right?
And that's what you want to see.
Yeah, and it's one of our big name players that we've brought over literally to score goals and get assists, because it can't just be up to Tags every time. Yeah. And I'm sure Tags on the bench would have been going, thank fuck, it's not just me that has to do it. So, again, I thought it was a great finish, and it's kind of the irony, right? We're wanting to be this possession-based team, but then transition, and the one time we did get it right, even though it was. You can be cynical and say, well, it was Newcastle, poor pass, we intercepted it, bang, 4-on-2, you should score from that. But we did well to score from that.
Just real quick, sorry. Yeah. Do we know if Tags was injured or it was precautionary? Do we know what the deal was?
Thing they said in the commentary that he's had some heel issue in training or something. Yeah. So they were being careful with him.
Well, there was some training footage that the club send out to all the news stations, or if you got the accreditation. The footage had Taggart in his trainers when he was going through the drills and everything. So, I think it wasn't a surprise that he didn't feature as much. But it's good to see that once he did come on, we weren't relying on him to do something special.
And he shook the crossbar pretty hard.
He did.
He was unlucky.
He was very unlucky.
What a luxury to be like Taggart's on the bench and be like, oh, we might still score a goal.
We've not had that in a long time.
The last few years, it was like, if Taggart's not playing, like, is it worth turning the TV on?
Yeah.
Like,
I might just check. I might just like check the score. It's
Right.
like, oh shit, 3-0 loss or something.
You look at the starting 11 for once and go, oh, there's some decent players here, not just Taggart's starting.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, a lot of my notes were not too positive, but it's just about, it was good for us to get back in the game when we weren't playing well. I think that was the big thing. Good that we scored, but if we're wanting to take that next step beyond, okay, we're satisfied with beating Newcastle, who've been leaking goals in for fun and haven't really been too great this season, then we have to want more as a team, because I think Newcastle, for large parts, they outplayed us and outfoxed us at times. I think we had too much space between our defensive shape, which I think has been a common problem whether we played the back three or the back four. Max Burgess was able to receive lots of times in between the lines and turn and go. And again, a lot of my issues in the first half were, again, us when we have the ball, and then us when we don't have the ball. I know that's quite superficial, but
I don't like how confident other teams get, like how they get so comfortable in our box.
Yeah.
Like they just, we saw the stats, they just, how they can have so many touches and just pass it around like it's a training drill. I just don't like that.
What did you think in the first half overall?
I think as well, I just say on that point,
Yep.
The way they play around, I think that's where we're really, really lucky that we've got Caltac, and particularly Caltac in this game, because there are those times when they're just kind of having their way around that kind of edge of the box type area, and they're breaking through that midfield really easily, and then someone like Caltac's making these I think there was like a play where he made there was an open goal where he slides to make a last ditch challenge to stop it going in, and the corner comes in, the guy wins the header and he heads it off the line. And it's like, the last ditch defending from those defenders, particularly him today, I think made up for a lot of issues where teams would pick us apart, like just saying at the edge of the box. And I think that was, when we talk about the mentality, there was a few guys in that game that just, when we went a goal down and also when we went a goal up towards the end, they were like, we're not fucking losing again.
Yeah.
And that I think was really, because it's just so many times over recent years, you've just seen their heads go.
Yeah.
And it's really a shame. And sorry to keep going, but
that's right.
One thing I really think of is I remember talking to an ex-player who talked to Stajic about when he came into the Glory, and he talked about coming in after Zadkovic and being like, he walked in day one and he was like, kind of tear up my plans because I have to address, first of all, the mentality of this team is completely fucked.
Yeah.
Like the confidence is gone. They expect they're going to lose. They don't think anything's going to go right. You have to build them up from the start.
Yeah.
And look how much worse it's been since then.
Yeah.
So imagining building that up from where they are the last few months.
Yeah.
I think that was just really big that these guys really dug in and refused to lose despite things kind of falling apart.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, because there's not really too much to touch on in the sense of the first half, but touches in the opposition box from the whole game. So Newcastle had 42, we had 8. Final third entries, they had 81, we had 44. Not too sure how many penalty box entries they had, but that's the thing. It's like, looking at that as a raw number without any sort of context in terms of who we're playing, you would have thought, shit, Glory would have lost 5-0. But the fact that we came away from it with just the one goal that we conceded. Now, look, to Newcastle, they probably should have come away from the first half with maybe 2 or 3 on the board, I think. There was the shot.
Caltac made that last.
Well, that was more the second half, but I think there was a chance that they had where, forgot who the lad was. It was one of their young players, I think, that in the first half. Might have been Dobson, I think, or someone else. But either way, he was played in behind, and it was the save by Sutton.
Yeah, that one.
So I think we definitely did ride our luck. Oh, is that Will that's saying he's ready to jump in?
Yeah.
Let's see if it works.
And I hope that's just a message and a sign to a lot of the players that, hey, if you just really try, it doesn't matter how good your tactics are, it doesn't matter how what the talent difference is or who's fit and who's not. If you just keep trying, you will be rewarded in the end. And that was, I think, that's the detail of the game. Sometimes you need a bit of luck, and that's what we got. We took most of it, which is fantastic. I think man of the match performance for me personally, I know you guys can get to your own rating soon. I'm probably going to give it to Brian.
Yep.
I thought he was fantastic. Genuinely, I thought that was the Brian Caltech that we wanted to sign, and that was the one we got today. for sure. But yeah, all in all, just very happy, and I just really hope this is a building block to go into the rest of the season.
Fingers crossed. Alrighty. Well,
thanks, boys. Enjoy the 2.5 hour
We
train
will
home
do.
to
good luck.
Sydney.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Thank you.
Will do. All right.
Cheers.
Enjoy the rest of the pod, boys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, boys.
All right.
Mate.
All right. Renton's a bit of an idiot, so you're going to have to deal with a bit of a funky audio to begin with because it wasn't fucking plugged in to begin with until we plugged it in just now. So hopefully things are... We'll do our best to cope with things as best we can. So you would have caught a little bit of Will's points at the end. All right.
Where were we? Where were we?
Well, we'll see how much audio gets picked up. I'm just a little concerned that not a lot did. So it's going to be amateur hour for the first half and then professional hour for the second. So we may as well touch on the second half. Look, I thought we performed... look, again, we hung in. And I think the Jets in the second half, they didn't really pose as much of a threat, to be honest. And I think
more threatful when we made sloppy, like we gave away sloppy chances.
Yeah, I think they lacked intent, the same sort of intent that they did in the first half, where even though they had more shots than us before the penalty, I think there was that stat that came up on Paramount. Yeah, I just think they didn't really offer as much, Newcastle. So before we touch on the penalty itself, how did you see most of the second half, Tom?
I thought in terms of Newcastle, the second half is where they really started to... I think they got a bit frustrated, and I think they kind of started to run out of ideas and run out of gas a little bit, especially because I think we kind of cleaned it up a little bit, and though there was some giveaways still and some silly turnovers, I don't think they were quite in as bad positions. And so I think as that time goes on, and I think it was a bit of kind of what happened with us against the Mariners, where you go, hang on, we probably should be winning this game and we're not. And it starts to, time ticks on and we're holding on and they're getting more and more frustrated. And then eventually when the goal comes for us, I think that's a really... I know usually that's happening to us, but it's nice to see it happen to someone else for once. I think their kind of heads were really dropping through that second half because they seemed like a very different side when you juxtapose the second 30 minutes or the last 30 minutes of the first half to most of what they did in the second. It never looked like they were super deadly a lot of the time.
I don't think they could take that next step.
I don't think we started off the second half too well until we got that penalty, and then I saw their heads drop and you could see they got frustrated, and that's how we got so many chances towards the end.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say took control, but we
managed it.
Looked more threatening.
Yeah, and I think there were some good moments throughout the second half. At least one being Tom Lawrence winding up Alex Schuschneier. That was funny.
That was pretty funny.
That's pretty good, and that's sort of what we want to see. It was that sort of wind up from Lawrence, and then there was the moment from Caltac where I think Lockie Rose was about to run down the left hand flank by the corner flag. And then Caltac just shoulder charged and went fuck off. And I think we've kind of missed that, right? That it's kind of swagger, but it's sort of what we need. Do you know what I mean? Like we need our players to kind of flex their muscles in a sense and try and impose their character and their personality on the game because I think
it shows that they want, like, they're hungry and they want.
Well, that's the thing. How many times over the years have we said what is Glory's identity as a team? I think that's been a question that it's almost been there irrespective of who the manager is. It's like, we've not had an identity and we've not had players on the pitch that have been able to impose themselves in the game, especially when it's not going well, because it's easy to do things when things are going well and we're playing well. But I thought, Tom Lawrence had a fantastic performance. Brian Caltac was superb. And then when the penalty came, definitely controversial if you're a Newcastle fan, but Tom, how'd you see it?
I think sometimes when penalties happen, we confuse harsh penalties with shouldn't be a penalty, because it is harsh on the player, but it's one of those where he's close to him and he doesn't know it's happening, but his arm's away from the body, and I think though it's not necessarily in the rules. I think the referee is factoring in that Despotovsky is heading it back to probably end up with a Glory player who's going to have a decent shot. I forget who it is, but someone's running late into the box and he's blocked it with the arm. I think that does factor into the referee's decision quite a bit.
Yeah.
So for me, it's one of them where it is harsh, and it's not one where, as a coach, where the player comes off and you're like, oh, fuck, what are you doing? Like, blah, blah. Yeah. But it's still a penalty.
I agree. I think it's, obviously a harsh one. And let's be real, like, obviously Despo, I think Despo got a head to it. Even if he had head it back, crossed it into the box, I doubt there was anyone there to sort of tap it in. But even still, it's still in the box, hit his hand, like the rules are the rules.
I think by the letter of the law, it's the decision is given if you make yourself unnaturally larger and your body, or your hand, I should say, is in an unnatural position. And I think if you're jumping with your arms out, and that's your action. I think for me,
but it's not like his arms are out because he was trying to get out the way. Like
it's like it's sloppy, and it was, as you were saying, I can't remember who, but there was definitely a Glory player that was coming in, and
there's enough doubt in the ref's mind where it's like they've lost a chance here.
Yeah,
I think that clouds their thing. Whereas if he did that and it was in the corner of the box, there's no one nearby, he maybe lets it go.
Yeah, that's fair. And then the penalty itself from Pennington. Fuck
pretty
me,
good.
mate. Straight in the top corner. Fantastic penalty.
Like Harry Maguire's England penalty.
Mate, no, Maguire's was just a missile. Peno's was just...
It's a slow run-up as well.
Yeah, and it was just...
Ends,
mate, the placement was just outstanding. So,
the funny thing is, when you do the slow run-up, usually you're watching where the keeper goes, but it didn't fucking matter where the keeper went if you put it there.
Keeper wouldn't have got a fucking hand to him, mate. It was that much of a
I wasn't
fantastic
expecting
pen.
that either, to be honest. I just thought he's just going to try and slot it bottom corner or something. Maybe he'll try and trick him through the middle or something, but no, he just bang top right.
Yeah, and that was it was fantastic from Pennington, because look, he's not really featured much this season, but he seemingly, I guess, took the initiative.
When he came on against Mariners, he looked good.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is like he took the initiative in that moment and he went, all right, I'm taking the pen, because he could have given it to Tags, could have given it to JK, or could have given it to Lockie, but it was like, nah, I've got it. I'll do it. I'll take the responsibility, and a fantastic pen. I think the big thing after that for me was, okay, we've got probably 15 minutes, sort of in my head, we've got about 15 minutes to defend that lead against Newcastle, who are going to try and throw everything our way.
And sorry, do you mind if I just go back to Pennant? Just with Pennington, when he came on, I think I actually said to you, because when Wales pulled his hammy, he pulled up. We were like, oh, there's no way the physio can clear him to keep playing, and he did somehow. But then Griffiths pulled him off. Thank fuck.
Well, as soon as it cleared him, I was like,
who do we sub on? And then you thought maybe, we bring on Bagaria. But then I was like, no, if we sub on Pennington and get Franey to play on the wing and then switch them. And that's exactly what he did, and I thought it paid off well.
It did, and it's Pennington. I think this was, even though he didn't feature as much, I thought it was one of his more stronger performances where he did what he needed to do, and I think he performed very well. But then just sort of to that point that I was saying before about the fact that we were going to have to defend for a long period of time, you could see that the players were starting to cramp up a little bit or just get into that state of fatigue, and it's like, shit. Can we? It's a hard enough task when you've been defending for most of the game to then be told, okay, now you've got the lead, you've got what you want. Now you're going to have to defend harder for 15 minutes or whatever. But then it turned out to be like 25 minutes.
Yeah, because of the 7 minutes extra time.
Wherever that came from. Yeah. But that was the thing. I was like, this will be almost that defining moment for as shit as we had played as to whether we can find a way to win. And I think we showed it. Well, again, it wasn't pretty, but I think, look, Newcastle with their attempts on goal, did we really get put under significant pressure?
I think you could see we wanted the win.
I think we wanted it more.
The Newcastle players.
I think we wanted it more, and I think we defended fairly well. I thought Wooten heading things away, or Kaltak just being there and us closing down shots. I think it was a really massive performance from the boys to really just hold on. So how'd you see things after we got the pen and before full time? How'd you see it?
Well, I do agree with what you were saying with how it was important that when Pennington came on, because Franey goes out there, because there was a bit of, I think I was talking about a while back where because Franey can do 10 stuff, he can do a bit of wide stuff, he can do a bit of 8 stuff, he helps that midfield quite a bit, even like out of possession. So Pennington coming on in that role means you can kind of have a bit more support there.
And Franey can do a shift as a winger. So
yeah, he was criminally misused under Zrilic as like a kind of 6'8" type guy, but I think that I think Griffo gets him a lot better than Zrilic ever did. So I liked when he came on, and then after the goal, I think it was that really spurred a lot of guys to be like, oh, we can actually get something proper from this. Because I think a draw wouldn't have been terrible, but a win's pretty excellent from there. I think as well, what I really liked is there was quite a few guys, Kaczarski, Taggart did a bit of it, Shamoon, who hasn't had as much chat, but he was so good in this game. I think he was like not miles off where Kaltak was. He was really, really good. They were doing a bit of an impression of recently Mateus Cunha at Liverpool, where when the ball would go out, they would get it and they would hold it and they would hold it and they would hold it, and then they'd win a foul and all the pressure gets relieved. All the players get up the pitch.
We managed the game really well.
Once the game state went into our favour, I think from Griff's on the sideline, there was a couple of times on the broadcast where it cut to him shouting stuff out, and it's like from him on the sidelines, from the players themselves, I think they managed the game really, really well.
When did Scott Wooden get the yellow card after we were 2-1 up?
I'm not sure.
I want to double check on that because it was a clever little. No, it was just before. Sorry, but it was a clever little shit because he knew damn well that the ball had gone out and it was a Jets throw in, and he just grabbed the ball, just waited, and then as a Jets player came, he was like, oh, sorry. So they got the yellow card from there. But it's that kind of dark art shithousery that we need to do more of. And Josh, the last 15 or so minutes, they were a bit of a stressful watch.
Oh, mate, it was stressful, but I knew, like, if we've been playing, like, especially our back line, like Kaltak, if they keep playing consistently how they have for the first 80 minutes of the match, I think we can get away with something. And, I thought we really managed to, especially like holding the ball, slow things down, and I thought we managed it quite well compared to what I've seen before in the past few years. Like I was like, man, Newcastle, this reeks of a 2-2.
It was almost bound to happen.
98th minute.
But no, I thought we held on to it quite well, and we deserved the win based on the way we held on to it, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, towards the end, like it was one of them where it was awful to watch, not because it looked like they were going to score, but because in my heart, I just think God hates us, and it's going to go in the net somehow.
Stupid times, like the Wellington game. The amount of times we've thrown a win away.
Mariners game as well.
Yeah, completely agree. Now, were there any, before I jump onto the post-match player ratings, your final thoughts on the game? I think we can kind of balance things out by saying, because I can't hear what your thoughts are, Tom, but I think we can balance it out and say, was the performance overall a sign that we can be a finals team based on how we played from minute 0 to minute 98 or whatever?
No.
Probably not. Because if we're talking about sustainability and the ability to then repeat that performance consistently against all sorts of oppositions, your Sydneys, your Aucklands, maybe even your Melbourne Cities, or maybe even Adelaide, they would be far more clinical, I think, in those moments than what Newcastle were. But just your final thoughts on the game itself.
So I think with that game, it wasn't amazing, but what I would contextualize it with is I kind of view the coach in this playing group as, because of how poorly things went around Zrilic and because of how poor the preparation was, we started pre-season 3 weeks ago. So for a team that's kind of started 3 weeks ago, pretty good in terms of just going away, eking out a win. You can see little bits here and there that are clicking, but again, you're like, this is pre-season. We should be playing, I don't know, Sterling right now at something not televised, but instead we're playing away at Newcastle. I think that's not too bad, and I was really glad to see that. And like I was saying, we saw a lot of things in terms of the character of the players, the determination, the way they wanted that win, they refused to lose, that we haven't, and it's a big thing because we haven't seen it in fucking ages.
That is true, yeah.
It's been so long since
away from home as well.
Yeah.
Probably the last time would be the Wanderers win under Stadge. That's probably the last time I think we've had an away performance like we did.
Well, I think it speaks to how much they've... So, like, when it comes to who's going to be the coach, that's part of what's convinced me on Griffiths is, we've seen some improvements tactically, but the players have really bought in. Like, it feels like there's some key players there where they're really, really in. And like Lockie Wales, like when he lost the Mariners game, he looked fucking devastated.
Him
He
and
looked
Scotty Wooden as well.
like
yeah,
they were
yeah.
cut up, and like that's, as they were saying on that phone call, they was super happy with that win. It makes sense because these guys are really bought in. I think that's a luxury that a lot of teams in our position, or a lot of teams in bad positions, don't have, and that gives me, I don't know where things can go, but it gives me some confidence of like, it's not completely bad. You know, you're never as bad as you think you are, but it's not all bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been a long time since it's been one of those smash and grabs, and it's one of those games where if we'd lost, I would have walked away and gone, oh, it's another one of those times where we should have won. But I just thought we played our cards right. And yeah, we did well to smash and grab, which is expected. I walked out of that game expecting us to win, and we managed to do that for like the first time ever.
So we'll get on to the player
So,
post.
sorry, even when we're good, that's kind of what we should be doing. We've got hard away trips.
Yeah.
Win at home.
Yep.
Be hard to beat away. Take what you can.
Yep.
Like that, I think that's kind of what the Perth Glory should be trying to be, if that makes sense.
That's a fair
I
point.
just haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I agree.
Like,
I really like that we're moving towards.
I thought
that.
we played our cards really smart for the position we're in.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that's what it's historically what's given us success over the years. If we wanted to be a finals team, it's like back to that point in the sense
tasteful haram ball.
Yeah, and it's like, you know,
that's why Popper was good, because it was like there was a little bit individual, but realistically we should be a fairly pragmatic.
But also
team.
under Kenny, also under Kenny, when we didn't have to be totally flamboyant, but away from home, I think Kenny had one of the best records out of any Perth Glory manager, and it was because we didn't have to play spectacular football, but it's like get in, do the job, get out. So I think that was a positive in itself.
And I was just going to say, it might not be pretty, but we got the result. The points are what matter at the end of the day.
Exactly, especially when you're last on the fucking ladder.
Yeah, well, not anymore.
I was going to say, and recognise that as much as we hate the away games, teams fucking hate coming and playing us in Perth as much if we can get to a good level. Because when you think of teams coming over and it's those proper night watchman games where they're kicking off at 10 p.m. their time, they're miserable, they just want to get on the plane and go home. That's where you can turn things as a Perth Glory team.
And I want to add this some point of the podcast. I just want to add this in. I'll squeeze it in. So we know that the players flew in on Friday at about 6 a.m. Because my mum was at the airport. She was sitting next to them. So I think it's nice to see that we're
breaking news.
You know, few days before the game, we flew into acclimatise. I think
they have those stiff legs. Just
nice to see, because I think under Zrillo we flew in like a day before. Yeah.
Played like it.
Yeah. So we had a few more fan comments, and then I'll touch on some of the player match ratings. JNB 91, Caltech greater than or better than Wootton. All right. Some of the one-touch football played in the first half was a bit brain dead.
Just enjoyed them both.
I know. They were playing as if it was a rondo at training. If you're playing a first-time pass, you'd at least want to know there's a teammate there to receive it. Georgie Shander and Joya didn't get to watch the second half as I'm at work. Who played well? Up the fucking glory. We'll touch on that in a little bit. And then Alex, he said, is it fair to say our best 11 with a fully fit squad is Sutton, Caltech, Wooten, Shamoon, Amos, Bozanovsky, Wales, Lawrence, Kaczarski, Taggart with Labib and Pennington unlucky, Risdon able to put in a shift only at right back. Would we agree that is our best team with everyone fit?
Sorry, do you mind?
Do you want me to do it again? So it was Sutton in goal.
Yeah.
A back four of Sam Sutton, Brian Caltech, Scott Wooden and Shabel Shamoon. A midfield two of Amos and Bozanovsky. And a front four of Wales, Lawrence, Kaczarski and Taggart. Is that our best team?
It's hard to say, because maybe yes on paper, but it depends on the game as well. Because I feel like some games where we need to play more defensively, Risdon's are better.
But if you were to do like a broadly standalone speaking starting 11 without any sort of real context,
then would you say we haven't seen Amos play yet in this team? So it's it's hard to say.
Fair.
But I mean, technically on paper, that's our best team.
What do you think?
As good as he was last year, I borderline don't consider Amos a Perth Glory player anymore, because when a guy's had a vague knock for 6 weeks or something, that usually means his entire body's fucked and we're not going to see him again.
Well, I think
I really worry about that. So and to be fair, we have a million centre midfielders, so it's not the worst position to lose a really good player in, as much as it sucks. But yeah, I'm not sure what happens with him. But the one I would talk is I'm really excited for when Sutton comes back.
That's going to be critical.
Signing.
Yeah, it'll be
really good.
He's and if there are viewers that haven't seen Sutton in pre-season, but he was just incredible. I mean, even when we were playing against Sterling, when he scored the free kick, and Sterling, but he scored a free kick in that. I think he might have got 2 goals that game, Josh.
Yeah,
he might have. I think, but he was top in the pre-season, and even in the behind closed doors game that we snuck into, he was top player. So I'm excited to see when he's back.
I want to see Amos.
Yeah, but if he's not fit, mate, then he can't really play.
I mean, we signed him on a 1-year deal, so maybe by January.
If you're on the injury table, it's kind of hard to play. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry to be harsh, but it's like, you've got Tom Lawrence who's performing, you've got Scott Wooden who's performing, you've got Brian Kaltak who's performing.
But we go from training on a really hard pitch to playing on a soft pitch week. Then
Amos has had injury issues before he joined Glory, and I think
why'd we sign him then?
Well, I'll stand. Okay, so we'll touch on some of
now the Bosnovsky signing makes a bit more sense.
Now it does, yeah. After I was giving Stan shit before, why did you sign him? So the player match ratings, we've got a few in, but I'm anticipating it'll grow as the episode goes on or as we finish. But currently, for all the ratings, Matt Sutton, what would you guys give him out of 10 for his performance?
I'd say a good 7.5, 8.
I'd probably go with a 7 or an 8. So there's a couple of shaky things, but he recovered. So yeah, look, I'm feeling nice. We'll give him an 8. Fuck it.
I'd give him a 7. The viewers have given him a 7. Labib.
7.
That's hard.
I mean,
7.
6 if we didn't win, or we drew. If we didn't win, maybe even a 5. But I think the results are a little bit inflated by a win.
For once.
For once. I think 6 is harsh, but a 6 to a 7.
It's probably a 6, but in context, a 7. And I had a good time watching it, so it's 7. We can upgrade him to.
Yeah. Well, 6 or 7. Sorry. No, it's because of fucking Will. So, okay. Yeah, I'd probably lean towards a 6. I think he's a good player, but I think he probably was a little uncomfortable at right back.
It just feels so harsh giving him a 6.
But it's not like it's a bad thing. I'm saying I'd love to see him in his natural position and playing well from there. The viewers gave him a 5.8. Ooh. Brian Kaltak, I think this is going to be
9.
9? Yeah.
Did
you give him a 9?
I say a 9, but it's one of those where it's like, did he do it? What did he do wrong? What did he get wrong? Like, what more does he have to do to get a 10 kind of areas? It's one of those where when you can't actually get a 100% on an essay. So
so they're going to
give him a 9.
cut it off a little bit. Yeah.
He gets a 10 when we're playing in the A-League final.
Fuck it, that's if we get there, mate. Let's not get too excited.
If it's against a better team, that's a 10.
Yeah.
Maybe even 9. But he was sensational.
Yeah, I'd lean towards a 9 as well, and the viewers gave him an 8.3. So I think that might be one of the highest ratings the viewers have ever given a player. Scott Wooden?
I'd give him
probably
an 8.
Yeah. Wasn't as exciting as Kaltak, but he was constantly doing good things.
But he's very consistent.
Yeah.
Like the 5 games we have played, I thought there hasn't been one where I'm like, he didn't have a good game.
Yeah, he doesn't have the ceiling of Kaltak, but
doesn't have
floors
to.
higher.
He doesn't. Yeah, and
he's got that experience.
Yeah, and we brought him in to be that leader at the back and have a presence, and I think he's done that. I'd probably lean towards a 7, and the viewers have given him a 6.8. Round it up, give it to a 7.
But there's also that moment where they played a really good ball in behind. It was an inch perfect ball to Lockie Rose, but the defending was so good in this game where Kaltak gives him a bump and he gets away ish from him, and then Wooten's there and that cleans it out, and it was like they're just so
it's the small details as well that we probably haven't seen as much. So
couldn't have played a perfect pass, a better pass, and they just got it. They just had him. They shut down Lockie Rose really well this game. Really good.
Shabel Shamoon. So you were speaking quite highly of him.
Really good.
Yeah.
I can't give him 8.5 because it probably wasn't quite Kaltak, but I thought he defended really well. I think he's fantastic on the ball. I love the way that he can carry it. I love the way he can retain the ball really well, particularly towards the end of that game. We're really holding on.
Yeah.
I think he's shout outs to Western United. They've kind of saved our season because a lot of the guys we got from them are
Western United B team.
really, really good.
Yeah.
But I really like Shamoon.
I know this is a bit stiff. I thought defensively he was okay, but going forward there were a few sloppy passes. Maybe like a 6.5.
I'd give him a 7. I thought, it's what he did do. He did do pretty well.
That's not what you were saying to me.
But as an overall performance. But there were some areas where perhaps. But that's just me being a bit of a cynical bastard.
Yeah. To be honest, towards the end, he was really good.
Yeah, I think that was also in combination with the whole team. I think everyone once we got that lead, I think that's when everyone went to another level. And Shamoon, he ended up with a viewers rating of a 7. Reece Bozanovsky. Alex will give him a million or whatever.
I mean, he got an assist, so I'm going to give him an 8.
Yeah, I feel like an 8's probably fair. I think he was really good in that game. He battled. He was just he gets everywhere.
Yeah.
I think he's been thrown into a really hard position, which is centre mid, and the team is kind of chaotic.
He's adjusted pretty well. I'd give him an 8.
Have you seen the Foot Mob man of the match? Who did they give that to?
Got no idea. SofaScore gave it to Caltech.
Okay.
I'd give Bozanovsky an 8. I thought he was solid, and the viewers gave him a 7.6. Cal Timmins, I was pretty disappointed with his performance, to be honest. It was a shame, but I just thought he was a bit rash and a bit reckless, and not as composed on the ball. I think we can see probably
he did
better
look a bit frantic. I still think he gave it you could see he wanted to win, but I just thought he was just a bit scrappy.
Yeah, I'd probably lean towards more of a 5. What would you give him?
Probably lean to. It's hard because I think he's brought off mainly because of the yellow card.
Yeah,
because I think it kind of is a part of his role in this team to just get around, kind of smash into people, kind of cause a bit of a ruckus. So I'm higher on Callum Timmins than most people. I was really happy when we got him back, whereas the team's kind of solid squad signing. I quite like him, so I'd probably lean towards it. It feels hard to give him a 6 when you pulled at half time, but I think he did an okay-ish job just kind of running around applying ball pressure, especially when he's kind of seen as the B side of this this double pivot. So 5.5 maybe.
Yeah, 5.5.
Yeah, well, unfortunately the viewers gave him a 4.7, so bit stiff, but Seb Despotovsky?
Not his game. Really.
I think it was his game. Again, I just think he's fucking wasted as a winger. Shit. Sorry, viewers. Wow.
Do you know when you hit that or not?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'll have to do some funky editing. So where were we? Were we up to Despo? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Despo. Yeah. So what will we give him, Despo?
Probably 4.5-ish.
Yeah, probably about a 5.
Viewers gave him a 5.8. So not too bad. Lockie Wales.
Probably a 6.5, only because he came off early with that injury. I thought there were a lot of times where he did some really good things. Like I remember I said earlier, we lobbed a ball and we're like, oh, clearly this is going to go nowhere. He made a perfect touch, dribbled like R9 around one of the defenders, but then obviously the shot was a bit suspect. But just the fact that he's doing that every game consistently now. I think he's really putting in a lot of shifts, and you can see he's passionate. And he's looked a lot better, I think, ever since he's come back from that injury.
Yeah, agree. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's one of those players where it's very easy to. He's an incredibly likable player in the way he plays, because you can tell he really, really cares, and even he's one of those players where it'd be very hard for him to score below a 5, because even if it's just not clicking at all for him, it's the amount of running he's going to do. It's the stuff out of possession. It's the dual winning he's just going to force to happen.
Yep.
So I'd probably get him to a 6 because he'd done some things really well.
Yeah.
But wasn't really clicking for him as much.
I'd probably lean towards a 6. It wasn't really his game, but I thought he still did a shift when needed. The viewers gave him a 5.7.
And I really hope his injury's nothing. I hope it's just
it seemed precautionary when they took him off.
Better to be safe than sorry.
When the physio's he's fine, I'm like, don't listen to them. They've not been
Don't listen to that.
Yeah. He's literally like, he's limping and he's like, my hammy.
It's like, just get him off.
And then he's like, oh, here's a little bit of water. That should do the
Or
trick.
I think Lockie did like one sprint, and then I think Griffo would have like turning on. Nope, get him off.
Nah,
Yeah, he probably had a heart attack. Why aren't you taking him off?
Tom Lawrence
8.5.
deserves the praise. I think he was definitely very solid in this game.
Scored a goal. Can't really ask for much more. 8.5.
Yeah, I'd probably give him an 8. He's clean on the ball, makes good decisions, except for that one random volley that he sat up for him. But it's like it's one of those. It's so hard not to hit those when they sit up that way. But his decision making was quite. You can just tell he's that kind of
top end player.
Yeah, he's that Visa kind of player where you get him, you're like, yeah, he's that class above.
Yeah. I'd probably give him a 7. Bit harsh, but
I mean, he only played 50-odd minutes.
I still think there's more to see.
There's more to see.
I think there's more to see, and maybe it's again a bit harsh and a bit cynical, but it's like I think
we can get him the ball more as well.
If we can get him the ball more and get him into areas where he can be dangerous and have the right conditions around him, then I think not only he will improve, but also the rest of the team will improve, and that's sort of been my argument for a fair bit about
he's
system.
because we've obviously seen him play a couple roles now with his, because Victory he played more as like
what do you mean?
Well, I felt like Victory.
What do you mean Victory? Against Victory?
Yeah, against Victory. When he played next to Tags, he played a little bit deeper. Now he played more out wide.
Well, he was playing higher, and I think it was because of the way the game was in transition. I think when you're having a transition all the time, you're going to want to have a higher starting position so that you can ideally be closer to the goal when you're transitioning. So I think there's more to come from Tom, and hopefully we can see an even better performance, and even 8 or a 9 out of 10 next week against MacArthur.
But as soon as like Tags is back, where do you think he'll play? Do you think he'll play over Despo? Or
you'd play him as that insider, because I think the idea would be you'd have Sam Sutton that'd be pushing up quite high. Hopefully he'd be back for next week. You'd have him pushing quite high, then you'd have Tom in that kind of inside pocket where he can play in either Taggart, JK, Lockie Wales or Suts, and that in itself is a front 5 almost. Very exciting. Speaking of JK, Jaden Kaczarski.
Probably a 7, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought he made a few decent runs, but I just thought there were a few times he didn't. I mean, obviously he's just come back from an injury, but he didn't look like that JK we had when he first came.
Still finding his
for
groove.
Wellington. He's still
I'd
finding
say.
his.
Yeah, probably a 7, I think. He was still running hard, and he was one of those players where towards the end of the game he was doing really well to hold up the ball and win fouls. But I did feel like he was a guy. He did feel like this is his first game back in a while. He's a bit rusty. I think as well, he didn't really gel amazingly with Despotovsky.
Yeah.
He wasn't. He would maybe benefit from having a more traditional kind of winger supporting him off to the side.
I think so. Yeah, I'd probably give him a 7 as well. I thought he's a decent player. Probably didn't get the right conditions to be as effective as he can be, but he's always someone that's going to work his ass off. And I think towards the end of the game, he won some good free kicks for us. I'll just skid through these next few, the subs. So Will Franey, the viewers gave him a rating of 6.5. Trent Ostler, the viewers gave him a rating of 6.3. Adam Taggart, 6.5. And Nicholas Pennington, 7.1. The man of the match, overwhelmingly, any guesses?
It has to be Caltac.
Yeah, I can't see
Brian?
anyone else.
With 72% of the vote, Brian Caltac was the man of the match, which is fantastic given just how shit his start to his time as a Glory player has been. The fact that he's was I think the best player on the ground. Fantastic.
Can I just bring up? Now I hate to be negative about my goat,
but you're going to do it anyway.
I just think, and I've been saying this for a while now, and I'm just bringing this up because we saw the same with Caltac, how he's just, you could see his head wasn't quite in it, and quickly I feel like he's back now. Adam Taggart, for me, he just doesn't look like he's quite. I mean, obviously he had that knock, and he didn't start. He came off the bench, but even still, he made a run. Obviously, it was offside, and I feel like Taggart, maybe a year ago, he would have finished that straight away. I know it was offside, but he would have finished that straight away. I just feel like he's not quite where he should be.
I just think he's a frustrated guy probably, and I think he's wanting more than anything an environment that can be conducive to success. I know that sounds very simplified and basic and obvious, but it's like if every game you're walking in wanting to win and then you look to your left and you look to your right and you go, fuck, and then 5 minutes in you're a goal or two down, it's like it'd be hard, particularly for him being one of the senior players but also the captain, to be putting on that front of we go again every week. It'd be quite damaging probably. So my hope from this game at the very least is that
gives him a bit of hope.
Well, not just that, we push on as a team because it can't be the status quo where whenever Glory win a game, it's like, oh, we won a game, and then we go on a 10, 15 game run where we don't win a game. So I think that's going to be interesting moving next week into
I just want to
the MacArthur
clarify,
game.
I don't think Taggart played bad. I just don't think he looks like he's 100, not in it, but he looked very frustrated, as he said.
And I think... like I said, if we can get a good rhythm going within the whole team, I think you'll see everyone's performance jump up by 5 or 10%.
Well, I think with Taggart, I often contextualize it by, I think Taggart that season under Stajic, we gave him crumbs, and he had, in my opinion, I think one of the best individual seasons anyone's ever had in the A-League.
I'd agree with that.
He was utterly incredible. Like, if they gave Johnny Warrens to players that were in not top teams, he would have been the guy.
He should have got it,
And then the next season they go, all right, do it again, but also we took away the crumbs, and you have nothing now.
Yeah, you got nothing.
I think they've completely broken him by kind of having to make him work so hard to get his 10 goals he somehow got last year. I think coming into this side now this season, it's not quite clicked, and I think they've just messed him around so much because I think we're so lucky that this guy really wants to live in Perth because... I would not blame any player from being put through what he's been put through by the club to leave. I wouldn't blame him if he left. So I think that's where his head's at a little bit, and he's not quite as sharp as he's been in previous years. But I think for me, he's earned enough faith. I think you're in the same spot where it's he's earned enough faith to be he'll figure it out, but you can tell he's not quite the lethal striker that he usually is at the moment.
Yeah. Before we preview MacArthur, we did have a few... we did put out a Q&A wanting to hear the listeners and the viewers' thoughts about just some things about where they think the club is at. And obviously the context is this was before the win, but I still think they're important questions nonetheless. So we had Average that said, what would you like to see going forward? A win. And we got that. But I think a lot of the questions that we had from people, irrespective of if they were looking at the women's side or the fact that we've had the win now, I think there's still important questions going forward in terms of direction, because I think as we've obviously had this discussion with ourselves in the sense of they probably will give the job to Adam Griffiths, based on on the balance of probabilities, they will probably give it to Griffo.
I don't think Arnold's a no now. So.
Well, Graham Arnold, John Aloisi, Nick Montgomery, Patrick Kisnorbo, throw any name you want. It's highly unlikely based on the conditions that we presented to any prospective candidate. I think they would all go, no, we'd rather not.
John Aloisi was watching the Ashes, mate. Maybe we can just
Wine
open
and
the
dine.
checkbook a little bit more, add another zero.
Yeah, that'd be nice. But I think fans are probably still wanting... Maybe not now because we did win, but I think it's still going to be a valid point as the games go on. What is our direction as a football club? Be it with the short term or the narrow view in terms of who's going to be the coach, can we win this game? And then also the more macro kind of view in terms of, well, what do we stand for as a club? Do we have the best people that are making the decisions for this football club?
If we do decide to give Griffiths the job, though, what can we do to just be to back him the best we can? What would you do?
I think they've just got to announce it, number one. If Griffo is, because he's the de facto coach, because there's no one else. But I think if he is your guy till the end of the season, well then say he is the guy, so that if fans are thinking there's a chance that it could be an Aloisi or a Kisnorbo or even a name that hasn't even been considered. Then it's like, well, it puts it all to bed, and then it's like, okay, Griffo's our guy. We're behind him now.
But I feel like now we've sort of put him under pressure because obviously there's been articles, Marco the journo, he said that the club has been going for these big name coaches, and now that puts Griffo under the pressure and the club under pressure when we announce it. for them, everyone to go, oh shit, well that's disappointing.
Well, I think, and I'll just say one point, and then Tom can hear your thoughts. But I think more broadly, it's like, well, we need to see something that's compelling, because it's like we've got 3 home games in a row for the men in December, against the Western Sydney Wanderers, Sydney FC, and then Adelaide United. And then even with our A-League women's team, who started off the season with a great away win, and then we had Dave Winkler, who chimed in with a good comment on Instagram where he said, you know, the women, they had some good performances over the last few weeks, but we've not been ruthless enough, and we've not seen enough wins from either side, be it the women who have some good players and then the men who have some good players as well. I think we need to be seeing far more compelling action from the team, and then also from the people above who, look, I did throw quite a few shots their way earlier in the week. I wrote a massive piece where I called out Stan Lazaridis and Jason Bontempo. I still think it's important that they are held under account and put under pressure, because I think one win shouldn't change, well, the doubts that we have about direction. I still think they're a valid point. So, Tom, I'm keen to hear your thoughts on.
I think for me, when looking at the Glory at the moment, I kind of split the playing group and the coach to one side and then everything else to the other.
Yep.
I think for the playing group and the coach, my whole thing is like, what is going to be the best for this season?
Yep.
And I think a lot of that is, at this point, it doesn't seem like anyone else is coming in. I would, as you're saying, name the coach. Don't give him a 3-year contract. Just give him till the end of the season.
Yeah, that's it.
And then insulate that and go, right, you guys just sort this shit out and try and keep all that shit away from him that's going on with the higher stuff. The tough thing is, I don't know what's going on for Pelligra in terms of what processes he's going to be able to start putting in to be like reviewing things, starting moving things. Because there's a couple things around this coaching situation that have been really odd. So the whole thing about where they're saying they're not going to bring any backing staff for the coach.
Or just one assistant max.
Yeah, that feels a little bit
Bizarre.
It feels a little bit odd to me, just because when you look at the squad and the transfer window we had, Pelligra has obviously opened the wallet and he's put the money into that. So it seems a bit weird. Like, I don't know if they really, really love our assistant coaches or what, but it seems a bit contradictory for him to be like, nah, but I'm not forking out the money for more of these guys. So to me, that kind of says a few things, which is maybe he's just gone, fuck this, I'm over it. Or 2, it's kind of like I don't want to let these guys burn more of my money. And even though they're my mates, there's only so much of my money you can waste before I have to go, what is going on here?
Yeah.
So to me, that's like, maybe it's reading too much into it, but that I feel like there's a good chance we see Stan and or Bontempo in serious
trouble.
Yeah, in serious trouble of staying.
Yeah.
Probably when it comes to next season. I think it's hard to do it mid-season, but next season, I think
it's more
that's probably
that
been
it's
too
like,
much for them.
Yeah.
I mean, yes to your point, but imagine, I mean, they've just brought in all these staff. Like, imagine buying a car from a dealership, and then you're like, oh shit, like, it's the wrong colour. I'm going to sell it and lose half its value straight away. Like, you know, it's a lot harder to just, you can't just get rid of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think by default there has to be that micro and macro kind of perspective that we look at it, because, you know, as you said, there has to be the separation of the players and the coach, because for the men, this game against the Jets, fantastic result, fantastic performance. I can't let anything be taken away from it, and they deserve all the praise for it, even though the performance was a little bit up and down. But it's a win, and we've not had a win for a fair bit this season, so it's important we've got that. Though I still think I want more, as any fan would. I want sustained success. I want this to not just be a one-off.
Yeah.
I want to keep winning and winning and winning, and see this team actually grow, so that instead of having to rely on either a moment of individual brilliance or a mistake from the opposition or a contentious penalty decision, that we can actually have a brand of football and, as I was kind of mentioning before, about an identity that we can all get behind. And I think for Ross, it's like, well, he should be sitting there going, great win by the boys, but I should still have my long-term cap on and go, okay, how can I enhance this in the future so that it's more than a one-off?
Sorry, just to my point before, I do wonder, though, if it's a little bit of like accountability, because imagine saying to your boss has given you a bunch of money, and then you bring in all these new staff, right? And then your boss is interviewing these other coaches and they're like, I want to bring my own staff. And then he goes back to Jason and Stan and imagine them going, oh, we want to get rid of these coaches, these staff we've just brought in because they're not good enough.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't think they have that accountability.
Yeah, and I think, look, at the end of the day, I'm going to still keep, and then we'll touch on the MacArthur game, but for me at least, I'm still going to keep the pressure on the likes of Stan and Jason Bontempo. Because I'll just say this point again about Jason, right? You know, one of his companies that he's involved with is Gladiator Metals. Gladiator Metals, one of the first reasons on their website why they want you or a potential investor to invest with their company is because they have an experienced team and a proven track record. And I think we're now in this position where we're wanting to think, okay, what do the next few years look like for Perth Glory beyond just this season? Because we kind of have balls up this season, even though I'd love to, I still hope that the players can move forward and then next week even get a win against MacArthur. I'm still like, but I've not been fully convinced just yet. And before you really want to, let's say as a fan, emotionally invest, I think there's probably got to be some more changes at the top. And then perhaps we might see some more fruitful
let's go
investment.
to this MacArthur game and just let's smash it. Like, I don't want this.
Well, speaking of which, we might as well preview MacArthur.
Yeah, I don't want to use this win as an excuse. It saved us a bit of time. I want us to go into this MacArthur game and go, let's win that again and prove a point. You know.
Tom, what are your thoughts on the MacArthur game for next week?
Yeah, I think to also kind of link it back to that as well, when you talk about the season being over, I think part of why I want to kind of insulate this team and try and get the most you can out of the playing staff and the coaches is I think this is kind of a bit of a, like the A-League's entering a bit of like kind of called jokingly a bozo era. Where there's actually not that many good teams. There's not that many teams that look great at the moment. Like Melbourne City just conceded a bunch of goals the other day for no reason.
Victory were ridiculously
Victory
poor.
are fucked. Like, we're at the moment where we sit, we're 3 points off of 6. That's how bad the level is. So it's kind of one of those where I think this MacArthur game is really big if we can go in and just take the momentum, because it's not always tactics as much as we love to turbo virgin our way into tactics and stuff. Like, it is sometimes just momentum and the players thinking, oh, we won last week, so it's going to work out this week. So it's taking that momentum, realising just get a run of results and see where you are.
I mean, if Sydney FC are first in the league, you know, it's pretty damn bad.
If Tale
out next, but he's
okay. I know this is a Perth Glory podcast, but it infuriates me when I see all these Sydney FC fans that they're literally first, they're top of the table, they're the best team in the league, and their fans are going, oh, I know we got the win, but I'm still not happy until we sack Tale out.
I do kind of get it, to be fair, but the only thing I will say with their win is they beaten an Arthur. It's Dials or Dillers? I've seen it both. Dillers
Dill
team.
Sauce.
I've been a real massive skeptic of him the whole time. Like, I think both the last 2 games against City, he got just absolutely torn to pieces.
That's probably the other thing with Griffo as well that I'm a bit concerned of.
I think Dillers is a fine coach, but I don't think he's good enough for Melbourne Victory at the moment, and I think that's happened. I remember I've had these arguments with Melbourne Victory fans who are slowly turning around to be like, oh, maybe he's just okay and not the guy. Because he did well against Corica in Auckland in the semi-finals, but I've just seen, and fair, Vidmar, I think I really rate Vidmar in his City, but he tore into pieces twice, and it's way too easy to do it. And as you're saying with Griffo, we don't know yet.
It's still too much of an unknown. I think there's still needs to be a bit more of a sample size. So
I think maybe if you can't get a coach, give him a year, not 3.
Just the end of the season. It has to be that, and don't be influenced by any, even if he loses all these games or wins all these games, we just have to come to a balanced decision, I think, come the end of the season, unless something pops up. Yeah. So in terms of the MacArthur game, can we get some score predictions? Josh?
Don't do this to
me,
James.
What do you think? Can we make it 2 wins in a row?
Look, again, my heart says we could go in and win. Okay, not 1-0 because we're not going to keep a clean sheet, are we? Maybe 2-1 again. But then my brain says we're going to lose 2-0.
All right. Tom?
I mean, look, the thing I would contextualize it with is if you look at their run recently, they are playing games in Asia.
Yeah.
Lost to a Sydney team that I know they're getting results, but we're not super convinced. 1-0 over Wellington. We know how good Wellington are, which is not very. They're playing on the Thursday.
They're Taipei.
And then they're playing us on the Sunday, and it is away.
That is there for us, to be fair.
So it's one of those where it's like, I think they're gettable. I don't know what to expect from us, and I want to keep it within reason. But 5-0 Perth.
It's one. It's an okay. It's another smash and grab that we need to sort of do. But can we consistently do what we did today?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I think we'll get a draw. But I hope we can try and turn this momentum into something positive because
just more of the same.
I mean, you can't
more
complain.
And more,
with
but
the
just
draw
more.
away.
I'd love for us to not be satisfied. I'd love for the group to come away from today's game and go, yeah, we got to win, but we weren't too good, and we want to, and we should be wanting more in terms of a performance, but also a result. We had an opportunity today. If we did get a big win against Newcastle, we could be 10th. But it's I think obviously you can have the angle of it being baby steps, and then you can also have the other angle of being, well, let's keep pushing, let's keep going. We can't be content with where we're at. So before we wrap things up, are there any final points? Tom, any final points?
I was going to say the importance of that MacArthur game as well is if you get something out of that, the next game is a 7 p.m. home kickoff against a struggling Wanderers side, which is
the return of the
time
Taj.
difference. That's
Be
ends
2,
up being
3.
9 p.m. 10 p.m. their time. They don't want to be here.
Might be a warm day as well.
Yeah, that's a very gettable game. So I think if you can get going at that point, and I know God hates us, but if we can build from that,
can do it.
there is a decent. And we've got 3 home games in a row actually after that.
Yeah,
point.
that's probably the big thing if we can do it.
It's just get a point, get something good out of that MacArthur game, keep improving, but also just keep those players believing that things are actually going to work out if you apply it.
Fair enough. All right. Well, viewers, if you've tuned in for this long, it's been a bit up and down with us running around all over the place and call-ins and the audio working and the audio not working. So
we have a fair bit of editing to do.
I have a fair bit of editing to do.
I think it's safe to say the episode won't be out at 7 p.m. like usual.
No, well, we'll update you guys when it's out and everything, but like that. But if you've tuned in for this long, thank you, Tom. Thank you for the call up and stepping in.
No worries.
Enjoyed having you on.
It's good.
Josh?
Someone's got the money for replacements, not the glory for coaches,
No.
but
That's it.
Thanks for coming on.
So this has been
Appreciate
episode
it.
42. Make sure to let us know your thoughts, and for once you can give the players some positive feedback instead of "fuck you, get out of my club," standard procedure, or why can we not win games? So good stuff. All right,
we're back, whole league on watch.
the toilet seat charges is happening. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thanks.